Welcome along to today's podcast. My name's Debbie Roberts from Property Apprentice, and today's subject I'm going to be talking about whether or not a holiday home is a good investment property. You might have been thinking that now's a good time to be looking at buying a holiday home, otherwise known as a crib or a bach, depending on whereabouts you're based in New Zealand. It certainly seems to be a really tempting idea for many people at the moment with the onset of summer, and we're getting some pretty nice weather at the moment, aren't we? And especially since international travel is likely to remain pretty limited for quite a while yet. House prices across the country are climbing, so is a holiday home actually a good investment? Now, I've got some obvious and also perhaps some not so obvious things that I want you to think about before you make your decision to purchase. First of all, does this purchase fit into your long-term plan? Is having a holiday home something that you've got on your list of goals for the future? Or is this something that's recently popped up on your radar? Or is this the place that you'd see yourself retiring to? Any of these reasons can be really valid, but you need to find out whether purchasing a holiday home will affect your ability to achieve any of the other goals that you might have. Location can also play an important part in this. Is the location of your holiday home likely to achieve good long-term capital growth? Or is it a remote little hideaway for you to escape to that'd be unlikely to increase much in value? Secondly, can you afford it? If your source of income is uncertain, this might not be the best time to be increasing your personal debt. If this is not a concern for you, then you should speak to a mortgage advisor early in the process to work out how much you can borrow, how much that would cost you, and whether you'd still be able to purchase investment properties after this purchase, if that's one of the things that you want to do in the future. Does this fit into your budget today? And will it fit into your budget further down the track when interest rates increase as well? How often do you realistically think that you'll be able to use the holiday home? Work out how many nights per year you expect to be able to stay there, and then compare how much it'll cost you to own it. Take into account mortgage, rates, insurance, all that sort of stuff, versus how much it would cost you to rent accommodation in the same area for the same number of nights per year. Now, if you decide that it still makes sense for you to purchase now, what are your options if your income reduces or your situation changes? Would you sell it? This could be difficult, and it could take a considerable amount of time if it's in an area where there's low demand from other buyers. And if you sell it within 5 years of purchase, you'll also be subject to some bright line tests. So you'll have some tax to pay. You should speak to your accountant there. Would you rent it out? If so, would your target market be long-term tenants or short-term tenants? For example, Airbnb, book a batch, all those sort of things. And would the rental income be enough to help fund the ownership of that property? Number 3, are you going to rent it out? This can be a great way to reduce the personal cost to you of owning the holiday home or to help you pay down the mortgage faster. However, there are several things to consider. If you would only rent it out when you're not using it yourself, what's the rental demand at those times of the year? How much rent can you realistically expect to receive per year? What insurance is appropriate? What other costs and implications are involved? For example, cleaning, maintenance, laundry, drug testing, rates, tax, etc., etc., etc. And how would you manage the rental side of it? Do you have time to do that yourself, or would you pay a professional to do it for you? Number 4, what are the tax implications? So I've already mentioned the bright line test, which needs to be taken into account if you sell a property within a certain time frame after purchase. You will need to speak to a good property accountant in order to ensure that you purchase the property into the correct sort of entity or structure for both asset protection and tax purposes. You might be able to get some tax benefits, especially if you rent property out during the year. Although we generally say that a holiday home is an emotional purchase, they can also be a really good long-term investment. We've got many clients who purchased their holiday or retirement home much earlier than they'd expected to, while they were still continuing to improve their financial positions for the future through property investment. Some of our clients have also been able to obtain sufficient cash flow from renting these properties out when they're not using them to cover most, if not all, of the cost of owning them. So food for thought. over the Christmas period while you're enjoying your barbecues and hopefully some good weather. And have a Merry Christmas, and we'll look forward to seeing you again in 2021.